emergency information is always evolving. So we're really lucky to have members of the Tri-City CERT team here to update us and give us more information on how we can keep ourselves, our families, and our communities safe in the event of a disaster. So Stuart, thank you for organizing. Cindy, thank you. And so it's your turn now. Come on up.
I like to wander when I talk, so if you can't hear me, just raise a hand and I'll talk a little louder. Coming off of a cold, so I have a bit of a sore throat. But I am Jose Hernandez. I am president of Tri-City CERT. This is my last year as president. I've been president for 15 years. Yeah, it's time for me to take a break. All right, so this coming Saturday, the next 3 Saturdays, we have a CERT class. We have a flyer in the back. Looks something like this. Go ahead, if you're interested, you can sign up and hop into that class. It's 3 8-hour days, gives you 21 hours of training for basic disaster preparedness, light search and rescue, fire suppression, where you get to put out an actual fire, medical operations 1 and 2, including how to do triage and bandage people. We don't cover CPR. And then also we talk about earthquake preparedness, we talk about disaster psychology, terrorism, and on our first day we'll actually be having Captain Osorio now? Doing a active shooter presentation. Sorry, I remember him as lieutenant, so. And that's what's going to be going on with that. Now, what I'm going to talk to you tonight is about under the bed bags. So imagine you're in bed. Earthquakes, when do they normally happen? They can happen at any time, but they always seem to hit when you're in bed for some odd reason. I don't know why. But, so typically what you want to do is you want to have an under the bed bag. So you want to have a backpack clipped to your bed frame that has like a pair of shoes, a change of clothes appropriate for the weather, for the time of year, maybe an extra set of eyeglasses if you're like me and blind as a bat without them. You want to go ahead and have a flashlight and some other simple supplies in there. And that way, if there is an earthquake, all you have to do is just basically reach underneath, because you know during that earthquake it's going to be big enough, your bed's going to bounce around. Anything under your bed's going to go a different direction. So that's why I say clip to your bed, tied to your bed, some way, shape, or form. That way you can just go ahead and grab it, and now you have it wherever the bed ended up at. Now, if we have questions, I'll be up here at the end. You can go ahead and ask me any questions on what's there. Now, just for a quick thing, I'm going to go over a very fast scenario. Imagine 2 people. Both of them live about the same. They're both in bed. One doesn't have an under the bed bag, has not done anything to prepare themselves in any way, shape, or form. That earthquake hits, they're going to have that sense of dread deep in their stomach of, what do I do? Where's my food? Where's my water? Where's my supplies? Oh my God, where are my clothes? I got to get out of my house. I smell smoke. So, and then the other person is somebody's taking the time to prepare. I'm not saying they've spent thousands of dollars. They just grabbed some old shoes, some old clothes, put them into a backpack, done it very simply over time. Now, when that earthquake happens, they're just going to go ahead and reach down, grab their thing. They don't have the same sense of despair that the other person has, because they know where their emergency supplies are. They know, I have a box here, I have some stuff in the car, I have an under the bed bag, so I have all these important kits that I need. And today we're going to continue going over some more. We're going to talk about disaster communication briefly. That'll be Stuart. We're going to talk about Map Your Neighborhood. That'll go ahead and, oh my God. Mark. Thank you. I just had one of those moments of, I've known him for how many years now? Mark's going to talk about Map Your Neighborhood, and then we're going to talk about pet bags as well, because quite a few of you have pets. I see one of your motions tonight is going to be talking about pets as well. So that's it for me. I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next person.
I'm Mark Clayson, and I have served on the board on CERT with Jose and Cindy and Richard for many years as treasurer, but I'm no longer doing that. So now I'm just the Gardena Map Your Neighborhood specialist. So that's what I'm going to be talking about tonight. So despite all your best preparations, and even if you have an under the bed bag, there's a chance that after a disaster, or in a disaster, you may need help. You may be injured seriously enough that you can't control the bleeding yourself, or you may be pinned or trapped due to structural failure, or there may be a fire that is too big for one person to handle. So these are all situations that can cause death or property loss within an hour or less. And that's what they call the golden hour. And so it's important that you may need to get help within that hour after a disaster, even despite your best preparations. So who is available to help you within an hour? Who are you going to call? Not Ghostbusters. Nope. 911? Can't necessarily rely on them in a disaster because there are going to be a lot of people in that same situation and they're going to be overwhelmed. They have priorities. So who lives closest to you? Your neighbors. And probably about the nearest 20 neighbors could get to you within an hour to offer help if needed. But how can you be sure that you can rely or expect them to help you? Unless you've made some kind of arrangements. And that's what Map Your Neighborhood is all about. Organizing and preparing for mutual aid. It's a nationally recognized program, and also throughout California, I think, in the Los Angeles County, most of the cities, I think, have adopted it, including Gardena. I gave the initial presentation to the city council, and they adopted the program. I had already tried it in my neighborhood for a number of years before that, starting in 2009, I think. It's a simple 9-step program that I'll quickly highlight that you can do when a disaster hits. But before the disaster, you need to make some preparations, meet with your neighbors, and draw up a map that shows where each of the 20 neighbors live, how many in their household, if there are any special needs, handicapped or so on, and draw up a list of resources and skills that your neighbors may have that may be useful in a disaster. CPR, power tools to help somebody who's trapped or something like that. Okay, so, and then discuss the plan, how you will use these resources to help one another. So let's go through quickly the 9 steps that you'll do right after a disaster. The first 6 of these you do on your own, in your own household. The first one is to put on protective clothing. Jose mentioned that you might have a bag under the bed that has a hard hat, good sturdy shoes, and gloves. And these will protect your head, feet, and hands because in an earthquake, for instance, there may be shattered glass that can cut you and you become a casualty. And you don't want to do that because you want to be able to help other people. Okay, and that's just sort of like on an airplane. They say you put on your oxygen mask before you help someone else, a child. Okay. Number 2, attend to the urgent needs in your family. If there's anyone seriously injured or there's a fire or something like that, then take care of that if you can. Number 3, check for any natural gas leaks. The number 1 cause of structural destruction after an earthquake is fire, and that's because of leaking gas that's ignited. So you need to check if there is a gas leak. There are 3 ways to know that: by smell, by sight, if you see the meter spinning, or you see bubbling coming out from the pipes, the gas pipes under the ground, or if you hear a hissing sound. If you do that, if there's any indication of gas leaks, you need to shut off the gas at the main, and there's a demonstration that you can come and try it yourself here afterwards. And then also, number 4 is to shut off the water at the main. This preserves the good water within your pipes to use because water may become a premium quantity after an earthquake. And it keeps out the bad water. And then also a precaution to probably shut off the electricity, which can cause fires and sparking. Number 5, put up a help or okay sign, just like you see right there on your front window or door. And what that does is let your neighbors know whether or not you need help. If you do need help, they'll know that. And if you don't, then they can gives help to somebody else who does need help. And if you're incapacitated and you can't put up a sign, then your neighbors should just assume that you may need help. Number 6 is put a fire extinguisher on the curb in front of your house. The reason to do that, if you haven't used it yourself to put out your own fire, if you have a spare fire extinguisher, then put it out on the curb. The reason for that is then your neighbors, if they have a fire and they need an extra fire extinguisher, they have a big fire, then they know where to come and get it. They can just look out on the curbs. The final 3 steps you do with your neighbors. Number 7 is there's a pre-designated gathering place where you've decided to meet. And on my street, it's in the center of the block, my driveway under the street light, and check in. Number 8, you form 4 teams of 2 people per team, and send them out with maps of your neighborhood, and they go through the whole neighborhood. One team is search and rescue. They're looking for the people with the help sign or no sign, and they may go in and try to offer help. Another is to check the gas. If somebody's not home or they forgot to shut off the gas and there's a leak, then they shut it off. So they go with a wrench. And then special needs, anybody who needs to be, who is immobile, for instance, or frail. And then a team that monitors the radio for instructions from the government and officials. Number 9 is the teams report back, or they can, if they're still looking, they can yell or whistle or call if they can. And they report back, and then you meet any needs that have been identified. If somebody needs CPR or something, then you ask for somebody who has that skill that can give CPR, or a special tool, a chainsaw or something like that. Okay, so these are the 9 steps. What now? The next thing for you to do, if you haven't done so, is to choose a neighbor or 2 that you know well, and together plan a neighborhood meeting. Set it up, schedule it, a place and a time, and then invite your neighbors, those 20 nearest neighbors. In the meeting, you can either view a 90-minute YouTube video that explains the Map Your Neighborhood by the same person that trained me, or I'm willing to come and give the presentation myself to your neighborhood. So either way, and in that meeting, you will create a neighborhood map, a resource list of skills and resources that you can use in a disaster. And then finally, you need to refresh this every year if possible, probably in October around the Great California Shakeout time. Go ahead and send a signal or set a set time and have everybody go through the 9 steps, the 6 steps at home, and then meet with your neighbors and send out teams just to keep that skill and refresh it. Okay, so that's it. If you have any questions or need more information, feel free to contact me. And there are handouts here describing the 9-step program and extra help and okay signs that you can put up. Okay, thanks.
What I have in front of me is basically some of the basics, all right? It's not just for dogs. I mean, we all have dogs, cats, whatever pets we have, all right, in general. And say that we have an earthquake that just happened, all right? And what Mickey has here, he has his little kennel, which he's demonstrating he enjoys. You okay? Okay. He has his blanket. And as you notice, he has a sweater. And also, sometimes it gets cold, so I got him a little jacket. Food, his favorite treats. I mentioned treat, he goes crazy. Water. This is I got this at a surplus store called Major Surplus on Figueroa and Alondra. All right. Of course, he has to go to the bathroom, so responsible pet owners, all right, please, let's pick it up after them. And water, of course, some more water, of course. But anyway, the list could go on and on, okay? But basically, you want to have just the basics, medication as well if your pet needs it as well. Provisions for your pet, extra food and water as well. This is just a little sample, as you could tell. But whole thing is just to be, not just for us as people, but for your pets and other animals as well. You happy? Okay, he's happy. Okay, but anyway, questions, comments? Forever keep their peace. All right, but anyway, thank you very much. I do have some information here, and just on a side, there's an app called My Shakes app. All right, so it's like an earthquake alert for your cell phones or computers, right, when it happens. All right, so anyway, it's been a pleasure talking to you all. I hope that you will be prepared as much as my son. All right, anyway, thank you very much, and have yourself a very good weekend and happy holidays.
Okay, team, I am Stuart Gorsky. Some of you know me. I'm the director for the Gardena Disaster Communication Service. And the Gardena DCS was created to help out the city of Gardena in a major disaster like the big earthquake. There's going to be, when the big earthquake hits, there's going to be, 14 officers on duty, something like that, approximately, when we have the big earthquake. And we're going to be calling people in, which may or may not be able to come in, right? And we have I think 9 firefighters in Gardena, and they have mutual aid agreements, and they will call for help, which will not be coming because everybody else is going to be in bad shape. So what I did was I talked to Chief Medrano. Everybody remembers Chief Medrano. And I created the Gardena Disaster Communication Service. I have volunteers from around the city. Councilwoman Francis has been on our team for quite a while now. We've got the mayor, we've got city councilmen, LA County Fire checks in, the chief of police, Captain Osorio. We have a radio in the watch commander's office. So what we're doing is we're providing eyes and ears, extra eyes and ears for the city of Gardena. So the big earthquake hits, the firefighters, what they do is they go around looking to triage, to see the big things that are going on. But they're not going to stop and help people at first. The police department will only be able to do so much. So what happens is my group, which obviously includes the CERT group, is the earthquake happens, you check, am I okay? Okay, I'm okay. Is my family okay? If that's good, then you can step outside or look out your window and you can report back to the Emergency Operations Center and report that there's a fire on my block, there is gas main breaks, any kind of traffic accidents. So our people, we train them, and they have the ability, they're very good trained well right now, and they'll be able to send a message back to the Emergency Operations Center. We actually have 2 of them. One's at the police department, and one is at the G-Trans bus terminal. And so we have radios in both locations. And so what we do is, like I said, we report back these kinds of things because the police can only be so many places. Fire department can be only so many places. So we're doing what we call windshield surveys. If you're looking through your windshield, you see something, you're going to report it back. And then, of course, we're going to write notes down. We're going to hand it to the police department, hand it to the fire department, and they'll do what they can do to help you. So that is kind of what we do. We use 2-way radios, just kind of like this. This is a Motorola, but you've all heard of, you all knew anything about 2-way radios? A little bit? They have this GMRS radios, they've got FRS radios. It's just different stuff you can buy in the store, okay? We tried using that stuff and it's just not effective. So we have digital repeater system. So this little radio can talk all around Gardena, Hawthorne, Torrance. So we have pretty good range doing this. And we will report back and let the powers that be know what's going on. So our members do come. I got most of my members from neighborhood watch groups because these people, they volunteer to help the city. And that's what they do, want to help the city. So if I go to ham radio groups or places for people who use radios, in an emergency, you know, you never know where they're going to go and help. Here, I start with people, you live in Gardena, so you want to help Gardena, right? Yeah. Okay, so if I get you guys know what ham radio is at all? Okay, so the ham radio guys, they get a radio because it's fun. Then they say, okay, I want to do something more. So they join an emergency group. That's something, now they're useful. Then what do? They join a second emergency group and a third one, and you never know where they're going. Okay? So I get my people from groups like this, and we train you, and all this is free. Everything is free. The only obligation is you have to pay for your own radio. Okay? And that's about $150. But we train you, and we practice weekly, and you don't have to make every practice. It's on the radio. It's like Monday nights. So that's kind of what we do. We are extra eyes and ears for the city. And we have a direct input to the police department and to the fire department. And I think we're doing a good job. We're really helping the city. Now, one last thing, because I know my time is, I could talk for an hour and a half, no problem on this. I can yap. So look at, one last thing. It was earlier asked about getting information about, for instance, the coffee with the cop and stuff like that. You all can remember Neighborhood Watch, right? But if you put a Gardena in front of it, and you're on Facebook, you come to my Facebook page, and it's a one-way thing. There is no people making comments and yapping about this, the dog is lost. No, nothing. It's a one-way thing, all about emergency preparedness and what's going on in the city of Gardena. I've been a videographer for the police department for maybe 10 years. And so I go out and I make videos from the mayor, I make it from chief of police, Captain Osorio, and what I do is I go there and we do the public service things. And so all this stuff is on our page. All my own created. It's good video and everything, good audio. And I put up I haven't put the flyer up for your coffee with the cop yet, but I promise within the next day or so it'll be up there. And so if you go there, Gardena Neighborhood Watch on Facebook, you're going to see all this kind of stuff that we've been preparing for. And you also get directed to the Cindy's Tri-City CERT webpage, which is all about CERT and stuff like that. So, and you can ask questions and stuff, and Cindy usually get back to you. And do you guys have any questions? I know I'm going really quick on this. Nobody has any questions? Cool. I got away with it this time. Thank you, everybody.